Olavo Luiz Pimentel de Carvalho, also known as Olavo de Carvalho, is a Brazilian essayist whose interests include historical philosophy, the history of revolutionary movements, the traditionalist school, and comparative religion. He is known in Brazil for his conservative political stance and for being a critic of the political left. Career. He taught political philosophy at the Pontifical Catholic University of Paraná, Brazil, from 2001 to 2005. He moved to the United States, and works as an international correspondent. He writes a weekly column for the Brazilian newspaper Diário do Comércio and teaches philosophy in an online course to over 2,000 students. Carvalho has previously written for several other magazines and newspapers, such as Bravo, Primeira Leitura, Claudia, O Globo, Folha de S. Paulo, Epoca, and Zero Hora, and taught philosophy to a smaller circle of students while still living in Brazil. He introduced to Portuguese-speaking readers works of important philosophers of the 20th century, such as Eric Voegelin, Xavier Zubiri, Bernard Lonergan, René Guénon, and Fridtjof Schuon. He founded the website Maskless Media in 2002. It presents itself as an observatory of the news media. He was the host of the show True Outspeak on Blog Talk Radio, which aired from 2006 to 2013 and had about 100,000 listeners each week. The book O Mínimo que Voce Precisa Saber para Aneo Ser Idiota is a collection of his many articles for magazines published between 1997 and 2013. Carvalho founded the Inter-American Institute for Philosophy, Government, and Social Thought in 2009, and serves as its president. He collaborates with Ted Baer, Paul Gottfried, Judith Reisman, Alejandro Peña Esclusa, and Stephen Baskerville through the Inter-American Institute. He exposed the Marxist elite in Brazil according to Vladimir Tismaninu. Ideas. Carvalho rejects Karl Popper's open society for not recognizing any transcendent values and by leaving everything at the mercy of economic conveniences that are something alleged even to justify the very demolition of the free market and its replacement by the welfare state, based upon taxation and debt. In some works, Olavo de Carvalho attempts a criticism of mechanicism, strongly criticizing Isaac Newton, Galileo and René Descartes. He explains how Newton's first law contradicts itself when lacking a traditional metaphysics. According to him, Galileo and Newton's science belittled the observation of natural phenomena in favor of formulating mathematical models with no relation to empirical reality. Carvalho opposes astronomers and scientists in general who refuse to consider astrology as an object of scientific study, seeing in this refusal a partisan attitude. There is a structural correspondence between the position of the stars in the sky at the time of a person's birth and his character. This can be verified. He also criticizes heliocentrism, claiming there are no definitive scientific proof of the Earth orbiting the Sun. Another target of his criticism is Darwinism. Carvalho wrote, "All he did was to venture a new explanation for that theory, and his explanation was wrong. No one else, among the self-proclaimed Darwin's disciples, believes in natural selection. The theory in vogue, the so-called neo-Darwinism, proclaims that, instead of a selection mysteriously oriented toward the improvement of the species, all that happened were random changes. Intelligent design is not only the final touch of the Darwinist theory, but also its fundamental premise, discreetly spread throughout the whole argumentative edifice of the origin of species." He goes on saying that Darwinism is genocidal by itself, from its very roots. It did not have to be deformed by disloyal disciples to become something it was not. Carvalho accused Georg Cantor of confusing numbers with the mere symbols in his works about transfinite numbers, and calls his math a play on words and a false logic works.